Hello, friends. Thank you so much for being here. I am so excited that you clicked on this video. So, I am going to start off by saying that, this is not an easy video to talk about, and I had no intentions on filming this video today, hence why I look the way I look. But God put it on my heart a few hours ago to make this video, and so here I want to talk to you about January 16th, 2014. But first, I have to talk to you about what led up to that day. If you are new here, my name is Christina. I am originally from Ohio. I moved to North Carolina a little over 3 years ago and got 100% sober and rededicated my life to the Lord. Now, I'm also going to say that I am not perfect, okay? There is sin in my heart. And if you've been here for a while, I know you've heard this repeatedly, but the Lord brings new people to me all the time. And so I do have to share that with you. I am not perfect, okay? I am still navigating through this life and Christianity and, just being a good person and all of that, but I will say that I am a completely different person than who I was 10, 12, 15 years ago. So, my parents divorced before I was a year old, and I love my parents. My parents went through some really horrendous things as children growing up, and unfortunately, it shaped who they were. And so my childhood was really saturated with drugs and alcohol and fighting and abandonment. Um, I love my parents. They did the best they could. But unfortunately, if you don't heal old wounds, you will bleed on those who don't deserve to be bled on. So, like a lot of people, I was bullied in school. I was viciously bullied, sixth and seventh grade. And so it's important to share that with you because it affected me in such a way that I really had no self confidence, after a couple of years of going through this. When you have a bad foundation at home and you go to school and you're harassed and you have no friends and all that, it it will affect you. And unfortunately, um, I am one of many. I started dabbling in drugs and alcohol when I was 13 in 8th grade. Um, like a lot of people, I started hanging out with a different crowd who was into different things. And I didn't have somebody there at home that was really paying attention to what was going on with me. Unfortunately, my mom was going through a lot at this time, a lot, a lot, a lot. And it just overshadowed anything else that was going on. And if I am being even more transparent, um, my relationship with my biological father, even now, really is non-existent. And it's it's a well-known fact that children need a mother and a father, a father and a mother. It's important. So I started to dabble in drugs and alcohol, and I got kicked out of my house when I was 13. Um, and I talked about that in my testimony video, so I'm not going to talk about that too much. Moved back home, I finished high school, and because I really was good, I was really terrified about getting kicked out of my house again. So I really tried to walk the straight and narrow, right? And so I graduated from high school, and I ended in after me and Matt had broke up, my big papa, I ended up in an abusive relationship. And that was also a very pivotal moment. I went through a lot. And again, that is a story for a different day. I went through so much in this relationship. And so, from the trauma and the stress, I developed a really bad drinking problem. Like, I wasn't a daily drinker, I was a binge drinker. And when I would binge drink, I would get myself in all sorts of situations, honey. Like, oh my gosh. The stories that I have from drinking alone is like too many stories. And so, fast forward a little bit later on, and I started doing harder drugs with a different boyfriend. And so, we were doing, Oxycontin. We were, I mean, really anything that we could get our hands on, cocaine, meth, uh, benzos, like I said, anything that we could get our hands on. We partied constantly. And so for years, I led this lifestyle of drugs, alcohol, fornication. There was nothing godly about my life. Even though I would say that, like, I believed in God, sometimes I would even say I was a Christian. But really, there was nothing Christian about me, honey. Nothing a Christian about my life. I also want to mention that there was a time when me and Matt got back together and I was really struggling and I was really trying to do the right thing and I was trying to get off of drugs and alcohol and I was having a hard time sleeping and I bought this tea, this like relaxation tea, and I drank it and I had all this expectations of it relaxing me and it didn't. And I ended up drinking like 3 or 4 more cups of this tea because I was just seeking comfort so bad. And I remember that I drank so much of this tea, it made me sick. And I was in my bathroom and I was getting sick. And I was just like, God, please help me. What is happening? Why am I like this? And I remembered nothing happened. And it was like, God forgot about me. It's exactly how I felt. I felt like God had forgotten about me. And like other people in my life, I felt abandoned. Um, it's such a cycle. And I had so much to learn and I didn't know it yet. So fast forward some more years and it is apparent that I am not going to be able to have kids. And when I was young, all I ever wanted was to be a mom. I wanted an opportunity to do it better than my parents did. You know what I mean? And I talked about that in my testimony video as well. And I will try to remember to link these videos in the description. I am still learning and I am trying so hard to do such a good job with editing and everything. So I will try to link that in the description. Okay. And so I went through numerous surgeries. I ended up having to have a hysterectomy. And after my hysterectomy, it just a light switch happened. Like I completely changed. I was bitter. I was angry. As a matter of fact, I was enraged with God because I'm like, I didn't ask you for a lot. I asked you for one thing. And as a matter of fact, it's one thing that you give to like everybody else for free. And so again, I feel abandoned. I feel neglected. So it's important to note that at the end of the day, my drug of choice is opiates, not alcohol, not uppers, not anxiety meds, benzos, anything like that, opiates. And so for years, I abused pain medicine and any opportunity that I would get to get pain medicine, I would get it. And so I was on pain medicine for a while before my hysterectomy and after my hysterectomy. And then my doctor weaned me off of them. And there's a little bit more to the story, but like I said, I'm really trying to like just keep the good stuff in. Okay. And so shortly after I am weaned off of opiates, I have an ex-boyfriend come back into my life really unexpectedly. Okay. This was like my first real boyfriend. Okay. My first. And so it's important to put yourself in that mind space of, I'm so vulnerable. Okay. I am so angry. I'm so fragile. And this person comes back into my life, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, is this a blessing? I really was like, did I go through all of this just to end up with this person? Like, is this my path? So we start dating, and I don't realize at first that this person has a really bad drug problem. And this person, I'm thinking this person is clean because they've only been out of prison for like a few days whenever him and I started talking. What I didn't know was that when he got out of prison, he literally immediately went back to, his old habit. And so when I figured this out, obviously I'm very upset and everything, but in my mind, I go back to me and Big Papa being together. And when we got together and he found out about my lifestyle, he's like, let me show you, a different way here. And it did help, it did influence me. And so I'm like, well, maybe I could do that for him. And so I really invested in him, time, money, all the things. And then, like I said, all this time, I didn't realize that this person was doing drugs behind my back the whole freaking time until the end. Um, so April 18th of 2013, I am with this person. I just got off work. They OD. All right. Now, this is important because this person's on parole. And now that this happens, they have to go back to prison to finish their sentence. May 10th is when I started using intravenous heroin, okay? Very short amount of time. Now, I started doing that, and that's in May. In June, beginning of June, it was like June 7th or something, this person gets sent back to prison. So now I am by myself with this really bad habit, okay? And so for months and months, I am, living this double life. And finally, it happens where the secret comes out, and, me and Matt, we get married and we decide to devote our lives to each other. And so shortly after that happens, because I'm on dope when we got married, he had no idea. And again, this is so when we break up and this happens, I had gone to detox. I get out of detox and reality sets in, and I'm just like, whoa, I'm married. I'm officially a stepmom. And so we break up, and I am convinced that him and I are not getting back together again. Okay. And so I'm in this weird place of, I need to get a job. I need to pick up the pieces. I need to move on. But it's like, I have no idea who I am. I have no idea what I'm doing. Almost everybody that's in my life that knows me is angry at me, disappointed, doesn't want anything to do with me. And so I'm really left with little to no options. Okay. And so one of the things that I was dealing with was I was not able to get a job because I had really tarnished my reputation, in the hair world. No employer, no manager wants to deal with any of that crap. You know what I mean? It's just bad for business, and it's a liability. All right, so now that I've given you somewhat of a brief history, let's get to the good part. So, after going on interviews and just being frustrated for weeks, months, whatever, Christmas, I got the only gift that I got for Christmas was a $50 gift card to Kohl's from my sister's father. Okay. We had different fathers. And so I had this gift card, but of course, I have no car or any means to actually go use this gift card. So I've been sitting on this gift card for a few weeks. And I was contacted by somebody and was told, hey, I got some good. And in a moment of weakness, okay, in a moment of pure weakness and frustration, I give in. And I had it where the person was coming to me. Now, at the time, I was living with my sister and her father. Okay, this is important. It's during the day, and my sister is at work. Okay, my sister's in the medical field. All right, this is important. We'll get to that in a second. So, I make plans for this person to come to me because, again, I have no vehicle or anything. They come to me, we do the exchange, and I go upstairs to my sister's bathroom. She lives in a big house, multiple bathrooms, and so I need privacy. And I don't really know, like, I don't have the things I need, okay? And I don't really know what's going to get flagged here. So my sister was giving herself B12 shots, okay? And so she had these syringes, but they weren't the right ones, okay? But if you're an addict, if there's a will, there's a way. You'll make it work, honey. You'll make it work. And so I have $20 worth of heroin, okay? And that's really important because that's literally all it takes to end your life, okay? And sometimes less. So I'm really worried about overdosing because I'm in my sister's bathroom. I love my sister with my whole entire heart. And the last thing that I ever want to do to her is make her find her dead sister after working a long day of work. Okay. So I only do half of it, and absolutely nothing happens. Nothing. And so now I am ticked. Okay. There goes my $50 gift card, and I got nothing. And in a very typical addict motion, I decide that if there is any good in it, that I'm not going to waste it, right? So I'm going to just do the rest of it, okay? What I didn't know was that, there's different kinds of dope, okay? There's some that do, again, I'm really trying to not get graphic, okay? There's some that hit you very intensely. There's some that it's called a creeper. And what that happens is that when you initially do it, instead of it happening right away, you might not feel the effects of it, for 30, 45, 60 seconds. Okay. And so I do the rest of it, and immediately I am, it's dark. I mean, I can't even tell you how fast it happened. I blinked and I was in a place of pure and utter darkness. I mean, I cannot describe to you how dark this place was. It was so dark. I could not see my hand in front of my face. It was darker than any darkest room that you have ever been in your entire life. Now, to me, it seems like this is taking a while, okay? But in reality, it's probably more like a few seconds. So right after that happens, I'm aware of I'm at first I feel warm, not hot. I feel warm and I feel peaceful. And when that happens, I don't want to say wake up, but I kind of like crack open my eye a little bit and I realize that I am, in fact, laying on the floor of my sister's bathroom. But what else I'm seeing is my sister had these windows in her bathroom, and there is this beautiful gold light, but there was stuff to the light. It wasn't just see-through. I don't want to say it was glitter. I don't know, but there was this beautiful light. And so now I'm feeling so like I'm just wrapped in a shroud of love and acceptance and peace. I mean, all of these really intense feelings all at one time. And all, like I said, this is all happening so fast. And when that happens, I literally could feel myself being like picked up and dragged over to the toilet. And my sister had kind of a bigger bathroom at the time. This was an old house, you know, older houses, everything is. And so when that happens, I instantly, as soon as I get to that toilet, I just start throwing up like I have never thrown up in my life. I think my soul might have come out for a moment too. Like I was literally throwing up so hard. And I'm trying to describe this to you because it's like I'm not aware of everything that's happening the whole time. It's like I'm getting blips of this, you know, while it's happening. And so the next thing I remember is my bedroom is actually downstairs. And so and the thing is, it's so weird is I cannot see this person, but I can feel this person. I can feel them next to me. I can feel them guiding me down the stairs. Okay. That's it. That's it. I wake up in my bed 24 hours later. It is a whole day later in the clothes I was wearing the day before. And I'm not kidding. It was just like in the movies when somebody sits up and they're like, I mean, it was literally, I flew blankets, everything. I had blankets on me. Like I was tucked in my bed, honey. Somebody tucked me in my bed. And so immediately I just know that God did not forget about me. In fact, God has been watching me the whole time. It's just that going back to that day in the bathroom after the tea and me being sick, I didn't realize God heard me. It's just that my sinful life had separated me so far from God that I wasn't able to connect with Him in a way that I thought was acceptable. You know, we have this habit. We think that because our prayers aren't answered right away, or they're not answered the way we want them to be, that God is not listening. And that's just not true. God is always listening. God is everywhere. God is all the time. And so after that happens, I immediately get down on my knees and I pray to God. I'm like, okay, I am crying and I am so sorry. I'm apologizing. And I told God, because I was so angry about not being able to work. You know, hair has been a huge passion of mine. And I have some clients on social media. And if you've met me, you know that I am extremely passionate about what I do. And I love my clients. And so I told God, I accept whatever it is that you are going to do with me. If you don't want me to do hair anymore, if I'm not worthy to do hair anymore, then I accept it because everything that I've been doing is wrong. And I'm going to say that pretty much immediately things in my life turned around. I actually moved out of my sister's and her dad's place, and I moved in with my brother and his ex girlfriend, who was also at the time a recovering addict. And so it was just actually probably the best environment for me to be in at the time. Um, we had a lot of fun, probably too much fun. um, and I found a job. I found a good job, okay? A very respectable salon job, a stylist, and I quickly grew a nice clientele, grew as a person. I really evolved there, not only as a stylist, but like as a wife too. You know, I started being all domesticated and things. And look, I wish that I could say that my life has been perfect ever since, but it hasn't. But the greatest thing about it is I have God to fall back on. When things get hard in my life, my faith has been the one true thing that has carried me through. All right. I have dealt with infertility. I have dealt with addiction. I have dealt with my husband getting sick. I mean, just all kinds of things. My dog dying. Um, And when I really focus on God and give Him the pain, you know, God will comfort you, you know, and everybody's comfort is different. And if you're going through a hard time, sometimes it can feel like God is so far away. But I promise you, He is with you every step of the way. I just want to reiterate to you that my sinful lifestyle is really what made me feel so far from God. But it also forced God to take a step back because, as I've said before, God cannot be in the presence of sin. God can be around, God can have an ear out, but He's not going to be as close to you as you are when you seek Him, when you live a godly lifestyle. All right, so I'm going to wrap this up, but I truly believe that I had an encounter with one of my guardian angels that day, with the Holy Spirit. You know, I really feel like God sent an angel to not only save my life, but also confirm that I am a child of God. And no matter what I've done, no matter how far I've gone, God loves me. I'm important, just like you. I'm no one special. I am. I'm no one special. I'm just someone who's trying to make heaven full. I love you guys.